In this video, we're going to be walking through new and innovative features of one of the most progressive nonprofit fundraising tools, and that is Fundraise Up. They are including new languages, new payment options, fundraising elements for your websites, and more. So if you're looking for onboarding to Fundraise Up, some help with that, please click the link below in the description to learn more. And if you're not familiar with their platform, maybe this is the first time you're hearing about Fundraise Up, I strongly recommend watching a few of the introduction demo videos in the description below. So, if we have not met before, my name is Dana Snyder, and I am the CEO and founder of Positive Equation. And my jam is working with nonprofits on transforming their online donor experiences through digital marketing and innovative technology. So, I am always looking for new tech solutions that can help organizations scale. And so, to join me in helping with that is Nick Miller from Fundraise Up. He is the head of special projects coming to us live from Brooklyn. How's it going, Nick?
It's going real well, Dana. Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. So, Nick, before we dive into the new updates, which I want to spend some time on, I wanted to ask because I'm just always curious as a tech platform looks to constantly iterate and make product updates, where do you really determine what to focus on and become top priorities?
Yeah, this is a great question. And, as we're talking to nonprofits, whether they are already working with us as customers or are talking to us for the first time, we listen for the common needs, and we store all of this information in-house here, and we look to see what the overlays are across multiple nonprofits. And when we see common needs start to pop up, we look at developing products and features around those needs.
Awesome. Love that. And so we're going to dive into a few of those new ones. There's amazing, just original OG features that Fundraise Up has that make it really unique. Do you want to speak to a few of those? And again, everybody, you can in the description click the links before. We've done some amazing demo videos in the past that dive deeper. But what are just a few of the things that you think really make Fundraise Up stand out on the fundamental side?
Our bread and butter has always been conversion optimization, getting more people who visit your nonprofit website to ultimately make a gift to your organization. And so some of our OG features to help accomplish this have been, of course, the use of artificial intelligence as a way to personalize giving for every donor. And then to also make sure that every organization has access to modern payment methods like PayPal and Apple Pay, and in this day and age, even stock and crypto, so that no matter who your donors are, whatever channel they want to give through, you've made available to them through their website, and giving is ultimately very easy.
Love that. There's a really great report. I have it handy. You guys did this with Next
Yes.
After, and it's one of my favorites. And I loved this section when looking at why donors make the decisions they do. You guys called out 6 questions that a donor is asking themselves. So I'm just going to plug this in the description below too, but just for nonprofits to think, your donor is asking themselves these 6 questions. Where do I give? Why should I give? Like when they're coming to your website, they're asking these questions. What do I want to support? How often do I want to give? How much do I want to give? And how much do I want to pay? So when they're going through that quick donor experience, like those are all the things that are going through their mind. So are you providing them with the tools to be able to quickly assess and make those decisions? So Nick, I'd love to jump into some of the updated product features that the team's made in the past even few months, let alone the past year. There's been so much going on all the time. Can we go ahead and share your screen?
Yeah, absolutely. But I just thought of a couple things that we can share that are
Yeah.
happening behind the scenes, and these are features and changes that don't yet exist on the surface on a website where you can view them, but are incredibly important. And so, in a few moments, we'll talk about how we've added language localization to the platform, and that means that nonprofits can now fundraise around the world more easily. But to get there, there's also a compliance checkbox, that we have to be able to check. And so that's why we've been hard at work securing compliances like SOC 2 and PAPITA in Canada, and making sure that everything is GDPR compliant as well. And so, these are things that you don't see on the surface, but these are important considerations when you're looking at platforms like Fundraise Up, and especially if you're doing international fundraising, you need to make sure that not only are you making it possible for people to give to your organization, but that you're doing so in a secure and a compliant way.
That's a really good point. Those aren't necessarily the, like, front and center, like, sexy elements of a
Mm-hmm.
tool, but they're, like, the necessary back end that makes everything powered and legal, right?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So to kick us off, I want to highlight some of the new payment methods that we've launched in Fundraise Up over the past few quarters. And so I'll click this donate button that we have up here in this on this website. And if you're familiar with Fundraise Up, you know what you're seeing. And there's other videos that you can watch from Dana that will describe all of the cool things that are happening behind the scenes here. But when we move through to this payment options screen, you might notice that bright blue button for Venmo. And Venmo is a recent addition to the platform. And the reason we added Venmo is not just because we can, because we are a data-driven company. We look at the numbers and we see, how donors react to things like different payment methods. And we recognize that there are subsets of donors that prefer to give primarily using digital wallets. And so for quite some time, we've offered the ability to give through payment methods such as Apple Pay and Google Pay and even PayPal. But what about usually younger donors, millennial donors, Gen Z donors who on a daily basis are cash apping and Venmoing their friends
All
for
the time.
nights out? Yes, it's a daily occurrence. If I looked at my own Venmo feed, you'd see payments for the dog walker, laundry, lunch, and so on and so forth. So making this payment method, making Venmo available in the platform is a way to engage younger donors who don't have time or, more importantly, the interest to sit down, pull out their credit card, key in the numbers, and complete a donation. It has to be incredibly easy, and a young donor needs to be able to donate using a payment method that they use in their everyday life. And admittedly, my debit card and my credit card sit in a drawer gathering dust while I carry my phone with me everywhere.
Yeah, it's very true. Mine is, like, always downstairs. It's never by me on my computer. I'm always having to, like, run down if I wanna go get it, like, and I know that sounds silly, but it actually makes a really big difference whether you're gonna make that donation in that instant that you're thinking about and you're compelled to do so.
That's
Love
right.
that one. That's
Yes.
great. Another big feature that you mentioned was around languages, which I think is a
Yes.
huge deal for those that deal with international donors.
Yes, that's right. And so if you were to go to a website that's using Fundraise Up and you click donate, you're going to see this. This is our donation checkout. It's highly optimized for conversion. And you'll notice that it's in English. And for the past few years, it's been available only in English, just like many other platforms. But what we realize is that as we work with organizations that have such a broad reach, organizations such as UNICEF or UNFPA, these organizations are engaging donors who are not just here in the United States and not just in primarily English speaking countries, but they're fundraising from donors who speak a myriad of other languages. And so we have to be able to provide, as nonprofits, a donation experience that can engage all of these people, that it's written in a language that they understand, that the currencies that are shown are currencies that they're familiar with, and they don't have to do any mental math.
Don't make anybody have to calculate anything.
That's right. That's right. And so I'm going to show an example of what Fundraise Up looks like if you were visiting from, say, Canada and you are a French speaker. So, number one, the organization, the nonprofit, should have a localized version of their website, which is displayed in French. And then when somebody goes to donate, that donation experience, in this case, Fundraise Up, should also be shown in French. And of course, what happens with a lot of donation platforms is they are designed around the English language and the English language only, with the hope that people will still go on to donate. But there's a level of trust that we have to
Mhm.
generate with donors. And so they put their trust in your organization's brand, of course, but when they go to donate, they want to have that same trust followed through to the donation experience. And if the website's in one language and the donation experience is in another language, there's an immediate disconnect there with that level of trust.
So how many new languages are currently available right now?
So I believe we have 15 that are
Wow.
now 15 fully localized languages, and that includes Canadian French that we're looking at here, languages like Finnish and Norwegian and German. And by the end of the year, we'll have a total of 25 localized languages. And it's not just
Amazing.
common languages, it's also region specific dialects, because you might speak, in this case, Canadian French, but Canadian French and European French
Are
are not the
different.
same. So we have to be able to account for all variations in language. And these are not machine translations. This is not, going to Google Translate, copying a block of text and have it translated into what it thinks is the most accurate representation. This is professional translators, native speakers who we work with to make sure that every word in the donation experience
Amazing.
is properly translated.
That's great. We'll link down below in the notes also with a blog post more about the languages announcement because I think that's really important to showcase. Um, awesome. What's next? What should we talk about next?
There are a lot of exciting features on the roadmap. The two that are launching in the very near future are stock and crypto as payment methods. And just like we have made Venmo available for younger donors who are used to using those digital wallet payment methods, there's also donors who will arrive on an organization's website with the intent to give something other than cash. And crypto, as an example, has, of course, seen its heyday. And people have bought into this concept of being able to purchase things and services with something other than cash. And that's why
Totally.
crypto has become so popular, and it's a decentralized method of payment. And while it's having, the quote unquote crypto winter right now, crypto is here to stay. And we will over time see it more and more in the mainstream. And we'll see more uh, organizations, for-profit organizations, accept crypto as a payment method. And so to
Yeah.
align with that consumer experience, therefore, nonprofits and charities should also make it available, which is why we're deploying it as a payment method. And similarly with stock, there are, of course, donors who are um, affluent. They have the ability to give large gifts, but they
Yeah, the
don't need.
average rate is if you donate via stock, it's
That's
$6,000
right.
is the average donation amount. It blows my mind. And I think to your point about crypto, it's also so new.
Hmm.
Right? Like crypto is so new, even giving via stock is so new. Like, A, are things going to fluctuate? Sure. In the time of this recording, the stock market is fluctuating, right? Like, there's going to be waves and peaks, but I think the more and more people get comfortable with this, is a whole separate conversation, but like Web 3.0 and the metaverse and crypto, like, it's just going to, I think, it'll become normal at some point. And so I love that you guys have spent time on doing that research and making sure that it's an added payment option for those that want to have it available. Because if you have somebody who wants to invest in stock and maybe they were going to give that $6,000 gift, but instead it's just their credit card and they're going to give $150, like that's a miss of a lot of potential funds in
Yes.
that certain case. That's amazing. Another feature that you guys have that I think is very cool is Fundraise Up does a great job at integrating with platforms to really create this beautiful, comprehensive tech stack. Can you speak to the integrations that maybe already exist and then also new ones that have come up?
Yes, absolutely. And as a platform and as a company, we solely focus on optimizing the point of conversion when somebody wants to donate as an individual donor. And so that means that we don't focus on being a CRM. There's other platforms that do this very well already. And that's why over the past few years, we've worked to integrate with so many of these platforms. And, there's organizations that are using products like Salesforce and Razor's Edge NXT or Blackbaud CRM, or even something like Virtuous or Bloomerang or Kindful. And these are all platforms that we integrate with natively, meaning you don't need to do any type of coding on your end as an organization. There's a native integration there where data will flow seamlessly and in real time. And most recently, we've added in integrations with platforms like HubSpot which is traditionally
Huge.
a sales-oriented platform. But of course, there are many cues that the nonprofit sector can take from the for-profit space, which is why it
Of
makes
course.
sense
Yeah.
for a nonprofit to use a tool like HubSpot. And then even more recently, we've introduced an integration with Microsoft Dynamics 365, which has proven to be a very popular CRM choice for a lot of nonprofit organizations. We're seeing a lot of nonprofits move away from legacy technology and on to something like Microsoft Dynamics to really take their fundraising and their marketing to the next level.
Awesome. And I will say, as somebody who has onboarded a lot of organizations and done some of these integrations, I am not a coder. I am not a developer. It is super seamless to integrate. So I love that you keep adding ones that seem to be top of mind and relevant to organizations. And I want to also lean into one of your core functionalities are your beautiful elements and making sure a site is fully dynamic and interactive regarding relevant regardless. What's the R word I was looking for? Regardless of what site you're on, you can always find a way to donate. Would you share with us? I'm going to go ahead and bring the screen back up. Yes, this beautiful tool, which is the new donor map. What is happening here?
Yes. So as Dana said, one of the core features and functionalities of Fundraise Up is to offer a UI kit, a user interface kit that's built for fundraisers, not developers, fundraisers, which means you as somebody who's in charge of marketing to potential donors have everything you need in the form of goal meters and leaderboards, and in this case, a map to help visualize how people are giving and to create a sense of social proof that draws people in and compels them to show their support. So with Donor Map, what we do is we show a map with pins on it that show where people are donating from. And don't worry, it's nobody's exact address. It's an
I'm
approximation
going to
of
zoom in.
yeah, exactly. We could zoom in on Dana's house and see that she gave. No,
Everybody come over.
yeah, exactly. This is an approximation of where somebody is giving from. And again, this is to create that sense of social proof that other people like you as a donor are giving, other people in your area are giving. And for some campaigns, it can even be used to create a certain sense of gamification as well. Where are the most generous donors? Where are the most people giving from? And so this is an element that is really just a single line of HTML code that you place anywhere you want on your website and
Yep.
will automatically render it into this responsive map that looks great on desktop. It looks great on mobile. You can resize it, you can zoom in, and you see these pop-ups as donations come in near real time. And it's a really exciting experience for donors to see, again, that other people like them are showing support.
I love it. Awesome. These are all amazing new features. Nick, is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap? Things that may be coming up that we should be looking forward to that you're like, that are in the pipeline, but they're not there yet? Any teasers you want to share?
Sure. I can tease a few features. So, part of what drives our development of features and products is to look over the fence into the consumer world, into the for-profit world, and look at there's no better way to put this than tactics, to look at the
Yeah.
tactics that
Y'all
for-profit
are the best
marketers.
at that.
Yeah, we have to look at what's driving people to purchase products and services and see how we can implement them in the nonprofit world. And so an upcoming feature that will draw some inspiration from the consumer space is the ability for a donor to be upsold from one giving amount or one giving frequency to another simply by clicking a link in an email that they receive.
Oh,
And
cool.
so what makes this so special is, as an organization, yes, you want to increase people's support, you want to upgrade them, but what oftentimes gets in between that and seeing success is the friction of actually doing this as a donor.
Yeah.
You might click a link in the email and there's an error. You have to refresh the page or you have to pull out your payment method, rekey it in. And we are all on the go people, whether we're on the go to work, we're on the go to vacation, we're on the go. And so having this friction in that experience doesn't work for upselling donors, for upgrading them to new levels of support. So our approach is to make it a one-click process where you click a secure link in a secure email, and you're automatically able to increase your support. Maybe you move from one-time to monthly support. Maybe you upgrade an existing monthly gift from $10 to $25. It all
Love that.
happens with a single click using a payment method that's already been securely stored in
Is
the
there a
cloud.
time frame around this new feature?
I will be locked out of the building if I give any definitive dates. The engineers and the product team will come after me, so I can't share a specific date, but it is coming soon.
Cool.
And it's a really exciting feature because we want to help nonprofits not only secure support on the front end, that is through their website, but to be a part of that journey of nurturing donors and bringing them higher up in the fold so that they can show more support later down the line. So that's where a
Love it.
feature like this, fits in with our strategy and our desire to help nonprofits. And it is it's a technical feat, I must admit, because we want to be able to do this in the most seamless way. And oftentimes the most seamless way to do something with technology is to really invest heavily in the underlying technology. Because if you don't do that, you do run into friction points in the donor facing
Yep.
experience. And our job is to remove all of that friction from
Well,
the
you
company.
guys have done a beautiful job. Thank you for continuing to push the boundaries and be progressive for this space. I mean, I say it all the time, consumers are donors, donors are consumers. If we're interacting a certain way on a for-profit site, we're expecting the same thing from the nonprofit site as well. And you are helping to make that available with technologies to fundraisers and organizations. So everyone, please, there's so plethora of links below. We will give you as many resources as possible. There's going to be a link down there for you to reserve a demo. Fundraise Up, I think it's .com/generosity. You can check that out. There's going to be another form where if you need help onboarding, I'm happy to help you with that for that. There's a couple of videos you can check out that go more in depth into some of the OG features of Fundraise Up, and we'll link that down below. All of the features, we'll dive deeper into blog posts. So everything you need to do some research, feel free to check down in the description. And Nick, thank you for your time. Please thank all of the developers and Fundraise Up team that we don't get to see as much, but they're doing a killer job. So we appreciate you all.
Thank you, Dana. And we, of course, appreciate you and the work that you're doing with charities to help bring everybody here into the modern age.
You got it. That's right. That's what we're here for. Anybody, if you have questions, if you have comments, please feel free to drop them below in the comments. Nick, where's the best place for people to reach out to you or the team?
If you're interested in connecting with me individually, I'd love to do that. You can find me on LinkedIn. I oftentimes share research that we get results from before we even push it out to the public through my own LinkedIn. So feel free to join me there. And you can, of course, join Fundraise Up on all major social media platforms, and especially on LinkedIn. That's where business gets done. So join us there, and we'd be happy to connect with you and tell you more about the platform.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Dana.
See you later.